guess one of the themes also, Beverly, that was really kind of present in like when you were kind of devising or kind of the concept for When the Silent Song Rises, this idea of like contemporary ancestry and spiritual awakening. And I think that's what you're talking about as well, is about that there seems to be, I mean, I can talk about it in relation to my own work, but that also is kind of very much part of it, how is the spirit awakened? In which way is contemporary ancestry kind of manifest or kind of shows up through the practice and through the work? Can you speak to me, can speak a bit more about that?
Through the practice, what do you mean?
I mean, like the process, like your own process of creating, you know?
My process, yeah, I feel like there is no words like to explain because it's so inner. But let's say that it comes from personal experience, and also what I learn, what I observe. Also, I've been lucky because I've been traveling through different places between Canada, UK, Central Africa Republic, France, and now Germany. Yeah, and as a kid, when you travel a lot, you also have this ability to observe and to have like a different point of view. Okay, in these countries they say hello like that, or they don't touch, or they are more expressive, or all this stuff like that, and also hanging out with a lot of people from different culture. Also, like it's really like spread out my mind, definitely. And I think in the process, it's really coming from like personal experience and what I observe from the society and what I can give as an input. I mean, I would say more for Central African Republic and also France, I don't know how to explain correctly,
There was this moment that felt almost like we're in a trance.
Yep, definitely.
So this, I think, is, if I understand the question correctly, is how our performance or how our work awakens this spirituality in us, because like I remember during the performance before I joined, there was like this point where it was like Exo and you and Selassie were almost in a trance with your movements, so this goes back to the fact that like for us as Africans, dancing is very deep. It's very spiritual, and like with the sound of drums and voices, this is how we invoke the spirits, and so I think now you can continue, but it's from the dancing.
Ouais, tu veux? Vas-y.
Celui que j'avais avant. For example, me, I really need to create energy before anything, before start. Sometimes my day, but for my artworks, for sure, I need to move and create energy around to really feel inspiring and feel guide. Definitely guide, because sometimes I feel like a channel. So, yeah. And it's the same for a lot of things, because sometimes we think that, okay, I got this idea, but you are just influenced by a lot of things, and your phone, what's all this publicity and all of things. But to go back to this point, she know we live together, and I really need to be around my quarry, into the water, sometimes candle, fire, to all my elements, to say to my family, okay, it's safe. Now I can be guide, and let's do that. And yeah, for some people, because a lot of people come from Christianism and for other religion, but if you really check our religion, we are going more deeper than other people. I mean by that, my mom was Christian, and in Congo, I don't know, it was really close to what I see in Benin when I was in Benin. I meet some people, some priests, and the tradition in Congo was really close to what I see in Benin. It was really, people was in trance to guide and to see, okay, this person have a problem, this person have a problem, this person have a problem, because it's about guidance by transcendence. And this energy that we create all together before, like for example, we create this energy the day before the performance. It's necessary to walk, clap, scream, sing, and circling to create possibility to open doors. And it's what I'm doing all the time, and that's why now I have an atelier, because it was too much for her. Sometimes, during the night she was screaming because we don't know what's going on. I'm just calling things, and sometimes, and I'm not a preach, I'm not expert, so I just try, I experiment a lot. And sometimes you can open door that you don't really know what you are doing. So, but with time, it's getting more easy to really understand, because you get more experience. But in the beginning was a bit hard, and but I'm super happy because it's worked. It's worked. I feel really, and of course it's more responsibility when you go into it. There's many things that you have to do to get more guidance. Respect of yourself, what you are eating, what you drink, and everything, and just to get more information, because it's all about that. It's about what. Okay, you can have. There's many level of elevation, I want to say, and when you, at some point you need more. At some point you need more. So there's something that you have to stop in your quotidien,
daily life.
In your daily life, there's something that you have to stop to feel more guide, to feel more. So it's my process. My process is to create energy and say to my ancestor that it's a safe space. I'm ready to be guided.
I really feel like connected to what you say. Thank you, to put words, because this is the same. I really in the process it's more instinctive, and I feel like there is, because we say 5 senses, but I feel like we have more, and I feel like it's the extra senses are involved in the process. I listen a lot of I admire that in my painting, that in the process I listen a lot of voices before, and I get some dreams. I have a lot of dreams, and I definitely feel that it's my ancestor that give me this, this information or this story. Sometimes there is even storytelling, and in the end it's not about the story was that. I just feel it inside of me, and I think it's kind of pushed me, or it gave me this fire of I have this dream. I want to materialize it, and it starts like that. And there is a parallel with the dance and with the painting. I start as a dancer with hip hop, and it's kind of the same process. I always need music. I cannot. Although I remember in Central Africa, I tried to paint, and because there is no internet, so Spotify, you can forget it. And so I remember there were 3 days I was trying to paint, but I couldn't do it. It's not that I don't have my power, but I feel like everything makes sense. Sometimes there is some purpose, sometimes not, and then it makes sense in the end. In the end, it makes sense. I'm like, I wanted to explore this door, but I didn't know, but it makes sense because it comes from the right moment. And and again, it's also opens some door of healing, of understanding, how to deal with life, and so I feel like definitely that my ancestors they talk to me and give me like some, I don't know, I feel like somehow it's a bit weird, but somehow I feel like I have this mission that I have to talk to them. Sometimes you have the person that is more, there is always one that is very interested on the past of the family and everything. Yeah, this is me. And always like hanging out with grandma and
Yes.
and grandparents.
Can I talk about this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I remember one time, I think it was 2 years ago. It was was 2 years ago. It was at the Kerim's place. Kerim was the musician of the performance. Can I? Yeah. Okay. And yeah, we did like a little ritual with only women. Yes. Yeah. With only women in the circle, and I was trying to just let their ancestors speaking through them. And it was really intense, and Beverly was talking with her grandmom.
No, my cousin actually.
Are your cousin? Ah, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, so end of the. I thought it was your grandmom, sorry, I didn't know.
No, she's still alive. At this moment, she was alive, but it was my cousin, I think. I was
Okay.
talking about it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
But yeah.
So no, it doesn't make sense.
But you know what? I feel like through this ritual that we have together,
Yeah.
it opened a lot of doors. Like personally and also artistically, I feel like my ears wasn't like only listening like the materialistic sound, but I really feel at this moment I can hear also beyond of that. So
This is about that, yeah.
I think that's exactly how I would say that's the same process I have. It's like I don't necessarily sit down and know what I'm making. I'm just being washed with the sounds. I try and paint with the noise and try and see what does it do, like how does it make me feel, or what, you know. So like the piece is like, you know, it starts with a clap, and then it goes into this other thing, and it starts to build a different rhythm because I'm just following a feeling. Yeah, and I was thinking about this kind of also, you know, through your process and your practice, like the materials that you use as well, like kind of what resonance that has. I mean, and I think particularly you, Beverly, like the jeans is something really kind of prominent in this series. And I was thinking about like, you could like about like, I'd love to know more about this jeans as like kind of material and metaphor, because it seems to be both, if I understand that correctly. Is that right?
So I start to use jean, I think, this year, like since I start also the series of Honorer le Sacrifice, also about like kind of, you know, like when you travel between like two worlds, like all of us, you know, being between like Africa and Europe or Western society, there is like a sense of consumption that is pretty interesting, like. I feel like here somehow like we lay sometimes our happiness or our well-being about accumulating a lot of material, and sometimes it doesn't make sense to accumulate too much, you know. And I remember that in Central Africa, like, you know, if they have like 2 jeans, 3 pants, it's okay, because, you know, it's just about necessary. Like even when they eat, it's not about eating like overeating. It's just about eating correctly, like, you know. And I remember that I went to Umana, and I realized that it was so crazy to be in like it's a channel of like a company channel. There is different Umana in the city, and I guess in the country, with so much clothes. Like there is so much clothes that I'm sure that everything won't be like buy, you know. And everybody in this country have enough clothes or enough material like to live for. And I was like, it's kind of an irony use, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna. There is so many clothes. You know what? I'm gonna dress up my paintings, because, you know, like there are some people that dress up dogs. I mean, I will do it with my painting because there is so much things. Like there is so much items, and so then And also because I feel the genes is kind of now, through the fact that we are kind of connected, I feel like the genes getting like the universal, the international language. Like I feel like when you wear the jeans, it's kind of having like the standard like role, the neutral habit, yeah, clothes. And when you get out of the jeans, usually, I don't know, for example, in Central Africa, when you get out of the jeans, you have like a bubu, you have like a pine, you have like, let's say, folk clothes. And I feel like it's kind of like this everywhere in the world, like international. It creates also like kind of international, universal interaction also. And so I was like, it's kind of also to appealing everybody, appealing the human. And also I buy second-hand jeans because jeans or things in general, they carry energy. And jeans, they travel through the time, through the space, through people, and they carry so much like experience or energy that it can be equivalent from an old human being. And so they emphasize somehow the wisdom and the protection. Also, when I paint, it's kind of it's kind of the space that I also share my, how to say, to express my inner child, my spontaneity, my craziness also. And I feel like, and it's kind of a parallel of my life too, in the sense that I get a lot of questionment of things, I get a lot of things to say, but somehow, like these genes that can be emphasized as ancestors, they protect me of this, not, I won't say chaotic because it can sound like negative, but in this mess of information, of questionment, of shape, of colors. So yeah, and it's a parallel of my life in a sense that sometimes I can take like crazy decision, or just in general, I take decision, and I always believe that my ancestors protect me. I always believe that there is 100 people like that care for me. So I can close my eyes and I know that everything in the end is gonna be fine. So yeah, and also it's about also condensing like the energy, because a lot of people do painting, and I was like, I want that my painting carries such a strong energy that when I'm back to my painting, I can feel that there is a person, but actually it's a painting.
With my work, yeah, so my work is very site-specific. So whenever I create, again, my primary practice is photography, but I don't know, since I started working with these guys, Ben and Simon, it's like they're always pushing me, well, not that way, but like I feel like a nudge more towards like site-specific installations. And yeah, so my work is always very site-specific. So working in this garden space for me was really a lot of fun, because I've been a practicing farmer for, I don't know, since maybe 2006, for as long as I can remember, like farming with my mom and with my grandma, and like I went on to have like my own farming business and whatever. But the point is, like, nature, working with the elements always has been super fun for me. And I think these elements are more than just 2D, they are more than just two-dimensional, something we can pick up. Like when you work with soil, when you work with concrete, when you work with stick, when you work with stone, I feel like I have this theory that like all of these various elements that are in my work have some relationship to water, and water as an element holds a lot of memory. Water holds memory. I work with earth because I believe that smell also holds memory. So like I'm also in a way trying to go and navigate between liminal spaces, navigate between our reality and also our surreality, or like within like the framework of our everyday consciousness, and also going a bit on the subconscious, you know. So for me, it's really evolving as and every time that I work. So for this installation, I used moss, I used like volcanic rock, I used copper, you know, and I used some crystals, because all of these things hold some certain relevance, hold some certain meaning, you know. And I think this is the freedom that conceptual art gives us as artists, you know, because when I'm doing figurative painting, I feel like I'm in a box. But when I do an installation, I feel like it's going more along the lines of conceptual work. And for me, this makes my work more accessible. But like with working with different materials, it's my way of making art which is non-elitist, right? That's the first thing. And also, if you write a diary, you make like really personal entries. So the elements in my work are also like super personal. Like for this installation, spent like a couple of days in the forest picking up moss. Like I worked with the crystals that like I've had for, I don't know, the last 8 years. So these are things that hold a bit of my consciousness, hold the consciousness of friends, of family.
I don't know if maybe some people know, but and I hope people are not gonna be scared of that. But to get curry, you know, curry is it's a mollusk. How we say mollusk? Yeah, it's a mollusk. And to get this mollusk, you need blood humans. You need blood humans. You can't just have like curries like that. You really need to have blood humans. And now there's curry everywhere, because it's super old. For example, now we are in the Aquarius area. Before I think was the Pisces area. And I think it was, the last Pisces before the one that we just left, the Corey was using. Yeah. So it's super old. And why it's easy to use it because it keep energy. And that's why I'm always cleaning my Corys. I put on the water with the sel, gros sel, big salt, and to let it free and to put my own intention, because when you buy curry from someone else or from shop or things like that, there's energy into it. It's super sensitive, super sensitive. So sometimes you can just work with or in your pockets, and some things can happen to you, but I don't want to say it's so bad. It's because of that, but can influence your journey. So yeah, when you wear curry, you have to be careful. Better to wash it, cleaning, purify, and then put your own intention into it. You wish you can, I don't know, it's easy. You can just like, if you want to pray, you can pray or just talk to them, because it's also, that's why a lot of people in Mali, for example, can read like the future or your actual present with Kowi, because it's they communicate. Yeah, they communicate a lot, and I want to say everybody can understand this because it's a human power, but it's not everybody have this. I don't want to say enough, but sorry, enough sensitivity to listen the chorus. But it's a human power, so in the end, everybody can do it, but you have to find you anyways. And so yeah, I'm using Koi because I feel connected with, and I feel like it's part of my journey to be initiated by this knowledge. Why? I don't know. I seem trying to know. Not so much because when I'm trying too much know why this. I lost some essence because I define, and I define with words that I don't mind. It's not, doesn't fit really. Yeah. Mm. So, and plastic also, a lot of plastic, inspired by a lot of artists in Congo. In Congo, a lot of people using plastic to do art, music, and costumes also. Because there's too much plastic in this planet, and we don't know what to do with. So it's yeah, at some point we have to find a solution. For example, this tribe, Danaset from Ethiopia, la vallée de l'Omo, they was dressing by plants, flowers, all the things that you can find in the nature. And one day, a photograph came to their village and took a lot of pictures of them, and picture get famous, really famous. So everybody wanted to see this tribe. Everybody wanted to see this tribe. And so a lot of people came, a lot of tourists came to their land. Tu peux juste partir avec elle. And so they start to find a lot of capsule everywhere. They start to find a lot of capsule. They didn't know what it was. So they start to use it to make it jewelry, to make it clothes with, because for them it was part of the nature. So it's the same things. Just, yeah, take it and use it to make it something beauty, and because it's also about that, it's also about beauty.
One of the things I keep thinking about of everybody's work as well is this idea of also like futurity, like the fact that there's like the future, there's hope, there's kind of like some kind of the way that the future kind of manifests as either like futurism or futurity or some kind of different ways in which the future comes. And like I would say in my piece, like it's about like creating a different world that doesn't exist, but yeah, I want it to. And so, you know, I want this world to be real. And so in that moment, it's about creating that joy, right? That beauty, that being political beauty in that moment. It's like that joy of just being alive and being, and just being limitless in our imaginations of what we can be and do and in that moment. And so I was thinking about this, like how does this, because I think it's also really relevant, of course, to everybody's work here, yours especially Exocé as well. And I see it also really kind of strongly through everybody's work, this idea of like, what is future to you? Like so in your, how would you describe yourselves and your work, like these ideas of all these kind of resonance of futurity or acts of futurity, or ways in which the future kind of shows up or shows itself maybe?
Can I guess? Afrofuturism, I love this term, but in the same terms, yeah, in the same times, it's heavy. It's heavy. Not okay. It's easy to say it's heavy because a white man came with these words like Afrofuturism, and then, yeah, this movement started. But I love it also because it's the influence of Sonra. It's the influence of Sonra. But sorry, first, before to talk about Sonra, I want to talk about this presence. Because, like I said before, we came from Christianism family or Muslim, and we are maybe the first since a long time to go out of this box. So we are kind of the dream of our ancestor, because we lost our traditions with the colonization and everything. So we lost our spirituality, our essence. And yeah, the dream, the fight was to just go back to our ancestrality, to our essence, to be more connected to our ancestor, because they create a system of reincarnation. But this system of reincarnation was not like the hazard. Hazard makes sense in English? It was not the hazard, because there's also this system natural of reincarnation. It means that you just die and then you come back to someone else. And this is like, it's fucked up, I want to say. And sorry. And our I really say our ancestor, find a way to reincarnate to your own family by your name, by some, can be your hair or exactly, yeah. And it's just a better way for you to go to another dimension, because for some tradition in Africa, the gold, our goal is to transcend ourselves and go to a better dimension, better dimension. And anyways, so Sonra was a jazz musician, and he was just a Pan-African, and he wanted to, for his generation and for the next, to go back to our own knowledge. He considered himself as out of time. So this idea, put Sonra as Afrofuturism, doesn't make sense, because for him he was out of all these concepts. And yeah, so why future? Yeah, the future is the future. Our ancestor is our presence. We are our history. We carry our history with us. And this is this Afrofuturism, because it's finally the time for us to let it go. Since a long time we struggle, we protest, we no. Today we have time to meditate. We have time to meditate. Don't talk about meditation to my grandparents or we have time for this. We have time to care of ourselves, like for real. So this is the future. Yeah.
I feel like every life has a purpose. Like if you're here, it's not a coincidence, and I feel it makes sense. We are here to contribute for something, and I feel like for us, we contribute for make our children, having like a better space, feeling good with themselves, feeling aligned with themselves. And yeah, I would say that futurity is that. I feel like our grandparents, they fight so much, and I feel more we go through through generation, and more we getting like specific and certain details that we need to fix about it. We need to talk about it, like not only the community but everybody. We need to talk about it to make it better. And I feel like the future, personally, is that making a better life for our kids, because I don't want that our kids live what we live, and we don't want that they live what our grandparents live. Like change has to come, and yeah, that's the future. Future give also hope. So future is hope, and I feel like every action that we do, it will manifest in the moment. So yeah.
So for me, I agree with like how Echo started. Like the whole concept of Afrofuturism is quite funny, because I think we've always been a people of the future. And again, it goes back to before Europe discovered fire. Like these guys were already reading the stars. Like if you go to Mali now, there are these houses that were kind of like built by like these tribes, and like these buildings are all now considered like, of course, World Heritage, UNESCO, blah blah blah. But it's really important to understand that like for us, we are a people of the future, and I say this with no humility, because it's just fact, you know. And yeah, like if yeah, I can be proud of my race too. Sorry, you know, because a few years ago, you know, like if you read the works of Sheikh Anta Diop, he was speaking about, I think in Mali, that they had some of the oldest universities. For example, in Timbuktu, is that Mali? They had some of the oldest universities in the world. Now, there are two sides to the story. Now, in the 70s, before the colonial masters left Africa, before Europe left, before like France, for example, left Tunisia, before France left Algeria, before France left Libya, and all these places, they literally bent everything. Like years and years and years of oral tradition, because like African tradition is very oral. So it's like a lot of things, we are stories that we pass on from generation to generation, and then at some point these things get written down. But because of colonization, there are so many languages that are now lost, right? That is one aspect. But now they also went and they burnt like all these like books from these super old universities. A couple of years ago, there was a paper that came out that said in this university in Mali, they looked at the records and then they found out like, I think it was, I cannot remember whether it was Galileo or Aristotle or all these fathers of European philosophy. All of these people, they came to these schools, like they came to these spaces to learn. And they were saying, like this article was saying that like, there was a preparatory course that you had to do in this university before you could actually become like a student. Like you had to do like some kind of Ausbildung. And then when the scientists did like some kind of like permeation or like some like analysis, they found out that this was stuff that was being taught in masters, like at Harvard, like the level of information, these preparatory courses that were being taught then were being taught like us at maybe between 3 and 5 years ago as masters, like masters level knowledge. But these were preparatory courses back then, right? So we have always been a people of the future, you know? So there's that aspect. But then also, as spiritual beings, spirituality transcends space and time. So like as true Afrofuturists, like, because time is kind of like, time looks a bit linear. So when you talk about futurism, it's like a line of like past, present, and future, right? But if you look at yourself as a spirit being, if you look at yourself as 70% water, then you are no more just a body, you know? But like, you are an entity, and this entity is not bound by these things, time and space. We are not bound by these things. So for me, yes, we are Afrofuturists, but like in a very revolutionary way, that like if we would go to our past, you know, like Marcus Garvey said, like people that don't know anything about their past can never proceed or they can never go forward. So for us, Afrofuturism means going back, and then because look at like Nkrumah, like for the independence liberation, like Nkrumah in '63 was saying to African leaders, unite now or we perish. And the things that this guy said all these years ago in 2023 is happening. Yeah. So if this is not Afrofuturism, I don't know what is. You know, so sometimes I think we need to decolonize our language and our understanding of these words. You know, so this concept of Afrofuturism, everything is Afro, sorry. Like this is just the truth. You know what I mean? So we need to get to a place where we decolonize our understanding of all these terms. Like it's not Afro, it's just futurism. And we are people of the future, you know, like there are things that are, look at like this movie, this Wakanda movie, Black Panther. I swear to you, the first time I watched this movie, there was this scene when T'Challa, he was going to be made a Black Panther, and they were fighting on top of this thing, like this, on top of the mountain, and there was water flowing. And I said to myself, wow, 2 years ago I was like in the Volta region somewhere in Africa, and I I saw this exact same thing. And I'm like, does this even, I was so shocked. I was like, bro, is this even real? Like when I was there in real life. And then I saw this movie from Black Panther 3 years down the line, and I'm like, wow. So whatever you call futurism, like we've been there, you know, because apart from our physical body, like we are spirits, and we carry like the essence of our ancestors. So the past, the present, and the future, you know. So Afrofuturism is it's a cute concept, but like looking at it from a very decolonized Pan-African point of view, I would say we are a step, like we are into something else, like beyond Afrofuturism, which also sounds a bit dreamy and like kind of psychedelic. But this is, for me, like Afrofuturism is, it's like a concept that does not fully encapsulate the true essence of what the African culture is, you know? Or Astan, what do you think?
I think like using the term Afrofuturism, maybe it helps to like explain this whole ideas, you know? It's like yeah, but I'm interested. I'm interested in this movement. Of course, it speaks to me. I cannot say that all my universe and art centers around that, because also, as you said, it's way bigger than we think. We cannot speak about Afrofuturism without mentioning Pan-Africanism, because it's grandmother, maybe. But it's, and also like, I like what it represents, even though I'm not aware of everything that it contains. But it's true that when we see like futuristic movie only with white cast or Asian cast, I don't think we're gonna call it white futurism or Asian futurism. So that's why it's like, but you know, it's like when we speak about punk music. We were watching documentary the other day, and every time I want to mention a black person that has a punk style, I'm gonna say black punk. But you know, punk is black is punk too. Like the first people playing punk were also black. You know, it's also the roots. You know, and even when you look at some African tribe, like the big the hairstyle they have, the jewelry they are, is so punk, and they're wearing this for centuries. So I'm like, wow, it's crazy that we have to put the term like the adjective before the word every time. But I'm like, but we do this so we can understand also what we're talking about. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's Toni Morrison's hyphenated people. It's like we always have to claim that space essentially through adding the Afro part, but it should never be necessary. But this is the situation. So I don't really have any more questions other than to say, like, does anyone else have any more questions or something that they would like to say or add about the work, practice, or anything else that we have talked about this evening?
Things also about Afrofuturism. I saw a little sense for me because of Horus, the son of Osiris, the son of Isis. So Osiris is the tradition, and he get killed by Seth, his brother. Is the tradition, so the tradition die. Isis take his penis, it's a symbolic, and she creates Horus. So Horus is the future, is like the new generation, and Horus have the third eyes. Il est porteur. He's carrying the third eyes. It's like the birds with the, you know, all this, the Egyptian eyes. We all know this symbol. And in this idea of Afrofuturism, there's always these glasses to see in the darkness. And is what Horus is doing. He can see into the darkness. So it's a symbolic. It's just a symbolic. I just really like this symbolic because it makes sense. So yeah, there's no hazard. is present, and we have to know why. Yeah, there's always comment on dit ça, metaphysic reason behind everything, because there's no hazard.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy. I want to say a big thank you to my real G. Yeah, because she really made it happen, and I think, and we spoke about it, and with Astan as well, that as black artists, this kind of work that we do is really important because representation really matters, and it's okay that we also begin to take up more space, and not just take up space because it's the cool thing, it's kind of falling under woke culture, but taking up space because, again, as I said from the start, we don't have the luxury of not doing so. But I'm really grateful to you that you bringing all of us together, because it's also really hard to work with artists, okay, timelines, we have to do this, and someone says, yeah, but I'm a freelancer and I need more money, so I cannot make the meeting, but she was able to bring us all together to put together this work, and I think it has also super impacted a lot of people, and for me, also really helped my artistic practice. So shout out to you, my G. Yeah, of course, shout out to ARTCO, Simon and Ben, yeah, Simon is a bit, but shout out to you still.
The heart is here.
Yeah, so thank you all for making this happen. Exo, Astan, thank you for supporting, and shout out Selassie and Tomias as well. Because we put this together, it was a group thing. And my G. Shout out Melody, shout out Melody for making it happen. So yeah, thank you, and I really hope that we continue to work together, and if we can do this, I think we can also do more, and continue to create, and continue to question the status quo, we have to burn heteronormative society to the ground, So shout out to you and your shoes. This is Afrofuturism. This is Afrofuturism, people. This is it.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to be there. Yeah, actually. Thank you for coming.